claim whatsoever that since he's said to be a British citizen operating probably from the UK, there was no inkling that the Nigerian government was making any moves in collaboration with the UK government to be able to arrest him and bring him back to Nigeria, knowing full well the long legal process of arresting a British citizen and bringing him out of UK for trial. So to me it was a surprise. A surprise also because even our own government, although it had been tough on the activities on indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, had no inkling at all that it was making a move to get the man rearrested and brought back.
Well, let's be very clear about this, because from what we know at this point in time, it's not very clear. Although the Minister of Justice said he was arrested through the joint effort of Nigerian security and intelligence agencies, yes, and the Interpol, yes, there is another source that says that Nnamdi Kanu may actually have sneaked into Nigeria and was arrested in that process.
I imagine that if you follow the extradition processes, before you can extradite somebody from another country where the person is a citizen of that country, you have to go to the court. The court must approve such extradition. But in this case, Nnamdi Kanu, I know is a British citizen. So he probably must have been arrested outside Britain. Then it
so there is a possibility that indeed he was outside.
That statement by government quite credible, that he may have been arrested as he sneaked into Nigeria.
So if indeed he sneaked into the country, then it was possible that he was arrested maybe at the entry point where he was trying to sneak in. That makes it possible for that arrest. That arrest could have been possible and easy for government. But if government says it was with the joint effort of Interpol, then I begin to suspect that it must have been even outside Nigeria. That arrest must have been outside Nigeria. But the government is not yet to come out where exactly he was arrested. But I imagine that if Interpol was involved in this arrest, then it must have been outside Nigeria, where he was arrested and brought to Nigeria.
All right. Now a number of issues have been thrown up here, because that press conference that was held today by the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation was actually a joint one with the police and the Department of State Services. An indication that they all may have participated in making this arrest possible.
Yes, Imoni. One thing is clear, that this is a major breakthrough, and I want to go into the dimension. It's a major breakthrough for the Nigerian government in respect of containing distractions to collective national movement. Yeah. And for the Attorney General to address today's press conference, for the DSS to also be involved and other security agencies, it lends credence to what the Attorney General said, that Nnamdi Kanu's arrest was effected through joint security action and intelligence. It also makes it possible that the international police indeed did collaborate with the Nigerian government. Yeah. And it's an achievement for the government in its effort to rein in separatist dialogue, separatist conversation, and bring us back to conversing on what ought to be done to move this country to real development, not distracted by separatism.
Does that also give us some insight into the fact, as you know, over time there's been this talk about discord amongst the security agencies in Nigeria. In fact, it's been orchestrated over time that the reason why Nigeria as a country is not winning the war against insurgents in the northeast, against bandits all across the country, and against the secessionist movement in other parts of the country, is possibly because the security agencies are working in silos. There is no synergy. Security experts have continued to emphasize that there ought to be more synergy amongst and between all the security agencies in Nigeria. Is this an example of what good synergy can produce?
Exactly. This is a perfect example of what a good synergy should be. All the security agencies should work in collaboration. If one has an information, should share with the other so that they can analyze this information jointly and take action on them. But if they are working separately, or what purpose does that serve? It doesn't serve any purpose. Maybe for ego purpose or what, or you want to claim credit for it. No, I think security agencies will learn now to work in collaboration. If Interpol was not involved in this, it probably would have been difficult to bring Nnamdi to Nigeria. But because Interpol was involved and other security agencies like DSS that was involved, they were involved. And I imagine that police must have also been involved somewhere. The local police.
Dimension to this question you raised. The moment institutions believe in the same objective, synergy can be taken for granted. But when institutions do not believe in the same objective, that can be a problem. Now, I want to draw our attention to something that on more than 2 or 3 occasions, the president has given marching orders to security agencies to achieve an objective. But those objectives seem to be eluding us as a nation. The security agencies have not been able to break through. There are side talks that the reason why that synergy is lacking, because there are embedded but divergent interests and loyalties within our security agencies. In other words, when one security agency is working in a particular direction, well, because there is an embedded interest in another security agency, they undermine that effort. And I can give you a living example. Here in this country, some of the best of investigative police officers had gone and arrested Wadume, the kingpin.
Yes.
On their way back.
In Taraba.
Yes. On their way back, that effort was undermined by operatives of another security agency.
Yes.
So the success of this might have been that all the agencies have agreed that this objective needs to be achieved.
Yeah.
He is a common enemy. So, but when you want to arrest a criminal A, and agency B does not see that criminal A as an enemy, the other way the other agencies see that person, then efforts are undermined. So this synergy, this effort, this victory, this achievement is because collectively the security agencies have agreed that this is an objective that needs to be achieved. And it has paid off. So, with all due respect, the advice, let there be more common definition of objectives and not divergent definitions.
Talking about common objectives, that of course will lead us to national unity and the collective interest of Nigeria, which all Nigerians must begin to share and begin to believe in. And let's just tell our viewers out there that we are beginning to get some more pictures and even videos of the arraignment of the IPOB leader in court. Right? I told you earlier that after the press conference by the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Kanu was immediately moved to the courts. He was taken to the High Court and was rearraigned on charges for which he had been granted bail initially. And if you recall, he jumped bail at that time. So he's been rearraigned in the Federal High Court, which is presided over by Justice Binta Iyako. We are getting some pictures now and visuals of that arraignment in court. We'll bring them to you, if possible, in the course of this intervention. But again, let us look at what could happen now in court. This was a man who was granted bail, and we know that a serving senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria actually posted his bail bond. So he's now been rearrested, not by the man who stood shorty for him, but by the security agencies, and has now been rearranged in court. What is likely to happen?
I just imagine that the charge that will be framed against him will be expanded now. It will not be the same charge that for which he was arraigned the first time. Will be expanded, and the plea has to be taken. They will take his plea, a fresh plea from him, and he must plead guilty or not guilty, depending on what. And I imagine that his lawyer, if he has one in court, his lawyer will ask to apply for bail. You know, the attitude of the court now is that the court does not take oral application for bail. The court will want to take a written application. You have to file the application for bail, and the court will now set a date to rule on that. So that is what I think would have happened. Maybe they would have taken his plea, and the plea would either be guilty or not guilty. I imagine that he would say he is not guilty. He would plead not guilty.
But given the backdrop of the fact that he had earlier on jumped a bail, well, is the court likely to be good enough?
No. The court will be very, very stringent now. In fact, I'm not sure the court will allow any bail. I'm not sure the court. I can't see Justice Binta, because it was Zane Binta Yanko who gave the first, who granted the first bail application. That was a slap on her face, because it was her court. That was contemptuous of her court, because she had to run. He ran away from Nigeria, putting the shorty at a big risk. It was for the, well, I'm not preempting the court. It was for the benevolence of the judge, not to have charged the shorty. Well, as it is now, the court will have to be very, very stringent. The court will not allow any slip this time.
This case is not ordinary for two reasons. The first is that Nnamdi Kanu surety had argued both in court and in the public space that after he was granted bail, he, the distinguished senator, did not know where the military kept Nnamdi Kanu. That they stormed his home residence and took him away. Or that if it was after they stormed his residence that he got missing. And therefore he could not legally be held liable because Nnamdi Kanu was no longer in his custody. That the military should be held account on the whereabouts of Nnamdi Kanu. That is one strand of the argument. However, the second, beyond criminality, which the prosecution is going to push for, there is the political dimension to this case. It is not just a straightforward criminal case. It has its political undertones. There's going to be argument in the public space. Demand to be a separate nation within a democratic space. Is it undemocratic? Intellectuals, political thinkers are going to raise that argument. And that is going to put pressure on the judge herself. The judge is going to be conscious that Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail. And therefore, in legalese, looking at the law, he's not going to be lenient on him. But some other lawyers will say, a separatist thinker who just melts, has he committed something undemocratic? That is a matter of intellectual conversation.
Before you come in, let me remind you of the charges for which he was standing trial before he jumped bail. Terrorism, treasonable felony, unlawful possession of arms, and management of an unlawful society. And in this case, it is the IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra. And that organization was proscribed by the federal government, even by the states, the various states of the southeast. Yes. And of course, there was also a judicial pronouncement to that.
I was going to make a quick intervention when Njoku was speaking. I don't know, I've never seen our courts play politics
Sure.
So no judge who went through a thorough training would be distracted by any political statement. Not in Nigeria. I'm very aware of that no judge will allow himself or herself to be distracted by political statements. The charge is very clear. There will be about 8 or 9 counts charge that will be read to him. The judge will not go outside this charge. The judge will not even if the judge witnessed a rally, even if he was in that rally, it's not his business until you bring such matter to him before him. That's when he will make a pronouncement on such a matter. No judge will be distracted by any political statement. The charge is very clear: terrorism,
treasonable felony, unlawful possession of firearms.
These are heinous crimes that carry very stringent punishment. And it has to be. He must be speaking to his lawyer now, because these are things that the court will address, not any political
as far as we know, at this point in time, he's been rearranged on these charges.
Yes.
Is there a possibility that more charges could be instituted against him?
Oh, of course.
Possibly
yes.
in another court.
No. You have to be the same. If you cannot go to another court, that would be double jeopardy. You have to come to that same court. If you are going to add, if you are going to expand, you apply to the court to amend the charge you have previously against him.
Mr. Njoko, I asked that question against the backdrop of the fact that this young man had been very vocal while he was free out there. From wherever he was dishing out directives. He was talking all the time. Hardly a day passed without a broadcast or one form or the other, giving directives to his organization, members of his organization in the Southeast, the ESN, and the rest of them.
Now,
what's likely to happen now with the leader of the group now in the hands of the government?
With Nnamdi Kanu in custody, we begin to query this situation, will interrogate the organization that he represents. It will interrogate the followership of that organization. It will interrogate the structure of that organization. It will interrogate the relevance of that organization. Now, I'm putting out these 4 criteria because on the ground, on the world, organizations have their command structure.
Yeah.
If it's very unlikely that Nnamdi Kanu is a lone wolf, very unlikely. He may be under the face of a gang of wolves, or in fact, he may be the face of a tribe of wolves. If it's the face of a tribe of wolves, it means that another wolf leader could emerge. If he doesn't represent a central interest, then this is the withering process has begun. And
Imodi, let me quickly tell you what may happen with this charge. Somebody or some other persons will be charged along with him. Just take this one. You can take this to the market. Some other persons will be charged along with him, because Nnamdi Kanu was not actually acting alone. He was giving command. Somebody was carried that command out here.
And one or two of them were actually arrested at one point in time.
Yes, there will be collaborators. There will be accomplices that will be arrested, that will be charged along with him. That's why I said that you should expect expanded charge in future. In very near future, you are going to expect it. You are going to see it. The police or the prosecution will come up with fresh charges to say we want to amend our charge and include some other persons that will go along. Nnamdi Kanu alone will not go down.
That's exactly why I said, is it a gang of wolves or a tribe of wolves?
Now, gentlemen, beyond this rearrest and beyond this rearrangement, what should we be looking at this point in time as a nation? Because you recall that in the last couple of weeks, there have been talks about trying to strengthen the unity of this country, trying to discourage secessionist movements and efforts at, in fact, there have been people saying, look, the federal government, the president especially, ought to now reach out to all aggrieved persons across the country. The source of these secession, the cause of these disagreements over whether we should continue to be one country or we should go our separate ways. With this now, what should government be doing? What should the president? What would you tell the president? What should the president be doing?
In previous conversations, not on this matter, I've raised the question, what is the present government's philosophy? What is the content of its concept of a Nigerian nation? Is it a humane collective ownership where merit drives national action, where fairness is a prime consideration, where justice and humanity are part of the values that determine public action, public officers' action? Unless we begin to create these values for ourselves, unless, in simple terms, people say it is give them a sense of belonging. That's not the end of it. When I was in school, pardon me, I had ambition to be a happy, successful young Nigerian. I never considered myself. In 1964, when I came to Lagos on our way to Dahomey, we slept at Methodist Boys High School. Some of my classmates, Mukala Alabi, Benjamin Olushala, were not from the eastern Nigeria. I was a proud, very proud grammar school boy. Nigerian grammar school boy. Yes, yes. Proud Nigerian.
And you want to
something
proud
a Nigerian. So we ought to give back to this country, to its citizens, a sense of Nigerian pride, a sense of Nigerian collective ownership, a sense of I can achieve, merit drives me, and I can achieve. Those things must be our contract morals with the people, with governance itself, with institutional behavior, with ambition, aspiration. It does not, you know one thing, I'm going to use an on television language. I hate saying that I want to achieve this because I'm from northeast, northwest, north, south, south, east, west. No. For as long as that drives national conversation, national decisions, we will continue splattering this country. We should get out of that process.
Ogwa, yes. Because in the last couple of months and even years, it's been very loud. Yeah. We have heard of Biafra. We have heard of Oduduwa Republic. We have heard of even some people, as recently, writing to the United Nations, asking for a referendum. They want to break away from Nigeria. And there have been this cry for restructuring. All of these are things that have been put on the table, and they say, look, let us restructure to remain one united Nigeria.
You will recall that recently, I think the MEND,
the militant group.
Niger Delta Rangers or
Pandev gave government,
90 days
to restructure, and they should restructure Nigeria. I think the Southeast also did the same thing. Then Yoruba elders also, I see that as a euphemism for the breakaway that is going on now. I think government should now begin to look at the possibility. When we talk about restructure, what are we talking about? Simply want this devolution of powers? Give us power, give the states powers. Let them control certain things. Why should the federal government be controlling education?
Agriculture. Water resources.
devolve powers, then let state control the human resources and pay tax
royalty to this
royalty to, that is what they are asking for. Every other language they are using is just euphemism. That's what I think the government should be looking for. Government for Buhari to say, there's no restructuring. I don't think.
No, the president really said, what he said was that those asking for restructuring should go to the National Assembly because it's a constitutional matter.
All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you immensely for your time. We must go now. We were hoping that our correspondent who was in court would be joining us or would get to the studio before then to join us and for us to take a deeper look at this. But obviously, you are going to get more on the news when it comes up. The world news comes up in a few minutes time at 4 p.m. and we should be giving you more details on that. But for now, Mr. Nwabweze Njoku, a member of that editorial board, thank you so much for hijacking you and bringing you straight onto the studio.
Thank you very much.
Ogbon Elisha is the chairman of the DA editorial board. Well, you need no thanks for that because one of your
big responsibilities.
Thank you all the same. Right. Okay, so that's it for us on this live intervention on the rearrest and arraignment of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. We shall give you a lot more in the news.